came here with a very casual, open chat today. So I'm Gabriella from True Marketing, and I finally we've tried to rebook this so many times. I'm so happy that we are here now. I have Jake Haupert, who leads up the Transformational Travel Council. I've known him throughout the years in a bunch of different intonations, a bunch of different job positions and companies and things like that. And we always kind of wind up staying connected in some way. And I really love what he's doing. Huge fan of his newsletter. If you're not on that, I guess he'll tell you how to how to subscribe to that in a minute. But it's one of those that I always open and I always get something out of. So that's why I thought it was important to bring him on today and chat about transformational travel, because it is something that's huge. It has been huge, but I think a lot of people throw that word around and they don't really know what exactly it means. They just know, okay, I should be into this, but it's like crypto. It's like people know what it is, but do you really? It's the deep dive. So happy to have you today. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you. Always lovely to see you, and I appreciate the time and the opportunity. And I just really hope that with everyone's busy schedule, they'll enjoy our conversation and get some value out of it, personally and professionally.
Absolutely. So we'll start with the concept of transformation. And if you were to explain this to somebody that has no idea what this means, what would you tell them?
Yeah, well, the term transformational travel is sort of been around and bantered about within the industry for a very long time, and easy, to sort of understand what it is at its core, right? Like travel changes us, right? It's sort of inherent, and even going back to like pilgrimage and rite of passage and questing, like when travel is used as this tool for growth, it just really becomes pretty impactful in our lives. And so, we had the opportunity to define this, as when we started down this path in 2016, 2017. So the definition is intentionally traveling to shift your mindset, right? And to really engage and learn and start to bring forth new parts of who you are, right? And start to understand, like, there are new ways of being, there are new ways of engaging the world. And so, it's succinctly intentionally traveling to stretch, learn, and grow into new ways of being and engaging the world.
Okay, so now we're in like we were talking offline about like a shift in the world. We were talking about just how people have changed. Right? So I'd like to think there's been a lot for the better versus for the worse. So why now is it more important than it used to be for people to try to get this kind of stuff, from travel? I mean, where is it just that they're not finding it at home? Are they seeking it elsewhere? Is travel just the best portal to kind of move yourself through something that's uncomfortable to change your life?
Yeah, I think what you just shared, I think it's a fantastic portal to intentionally engage and transform your life and the lives of others. And I think that it is hyper relevant right now, and it has been for a while. And post pandemic, I think that we're all craving renewal, and new beginning, right? And fresh perspectives and fresh ideas. And I think that, when I started down this path, 2013, 2014, and really like looking at travel from this high level perspective, it just felt like it was sort of disconnected from its essence, and disconnected from the opportunity it has to have a really positive impact in our lives. And a lot of that was rooted in travel sort of becoming, this place of entitlement, and, this place of like, it's about me instead of we. There was, it's been around extraction and exploitation. And a lot of times it was starting to feel empty. And so, I thought there was real opportunity to refresh travel and reimagine travel and sort of unlock its potential with tangible and practical frameworks and principles and tools and techniques to help travel designers, experience designers, and destinations understand how to create the conditions and create space for transformation in travel. And then more importantly, and the definition sort of leans into this, is like, how can travelers bring a growth mindset or a transformation mindset to their travels and proactively engage and look at it, this practice, as this travel practice, like a meditation practice or a yoga practice. You know, I think travel can be right there as a solution for us to start solving issues around feeling lost or disconnected or burnt out or anxious or depressed, or, you know, seeking, you know, big questions to life's questions, or big answers to life's questions. And
I still
so,
have questions about questions.
yeah,
That's okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And, you know, and hidden in that question, you know, is the term quest, right? Quest I on. You know, and I think that, you know, when we do embark on a journey, just having a little bit of intention, right, and bringing a little bit more presence to, like, why am I going? You know, where, you know, what do I want to get out of this? You know, who do I want to be at the end of this trip? You know, really sort of supports that idea of, like, it's a quest. I'm going to ask myself a question, and as I go through this journey, you know, I'm going to have a few mindful moments to just revisit, you know, who am I? What is the experience of life that I'm having? What is the experience of life that I want to have? And how am I going to create that? And travel gives us that open canvas, that white space, you know, that beautiful opportunity to go within and contemplate, and start, you know, working through some of this stuff. You know, it's really hard in our chaotic lives to step away and to actually have that quiet and that calm, right, and that sort of disorientation as well that travel gives us, is like, okay, I'm starting to see and feel and have clarity around my life and where I'm going. And, you know, travel designers, you know, that's our opportunity. You know, hotels, destinations, we should be doing everything we can to create that space and opportunity for travelers. And you know, it is inherent, but it can also be built, right? You can actually guide transformations, and I'll share a little bit more about that later in the conversation.
Absolutely. So what are some, for people listening to this and they kind of want like real-time examples, what are some examples that wind up transforming somebody? I think sometimes people hear that and they get scared, you know, and they say, well, I don't have a week to go sit in a sweat lodge and contemplate my life, you know, like that they get nervous and they say, well, this isn't for me. So maybe break it down and talk about some examples of really impactful things that can wind up changing your life that you might not foresee.
Yeah, I think that number one, transformation can, you know, it's a pretty loaded and powerful word, and often pretty intimidating for most. But, you know, when you really think about you know, change is inevitable. Change is always happening, right? And we can either react to it or we can be proactive. You know, and so with travel, you know, understanding that, you know, that we're constantly in this evolution of change and growth, right? You know, by bringing that growth mindset to it, it really empowers any travel experience to become transformational, right? And that can be transformation with a small T, you know, or a big T. That's completely up to the traveler, right? And you know, so it's not, it doesn't have to be a sweat lodge. It doesn't have to be a wellness retreat with green smoothies and yoga. You know, it can be walking down your street to the park with fresh eyes and with an eye toward, you know, being present and looking within, having self-awareness and appreciating all that are around you, right? Because, you know, our own neighborhoods are diverse and beautiful, and our parks are beautiful. So, you know, it can be, you know, anytime we step outside that door, cross that threshold, you know, so what we really advocate is that it is a mindset. And so, you know, it can be a philosophy or approach to any travel, adventure, luxury travel, wellness, you know, in any experience. It's just saying, hey, I'm going to be intentional about this. I'm going to use travel as a tool for positive change.
I like that. We were talking before about just human connection and, you know, like not, you know, not relying so much on Zoom, but I think a large part of it, I mean, just my opinion, is the personal connection and human connection to other people that are unlike who we are. And I
Yep.
think, you know, for a while, okay, it was interesting. And then all of a sudden, no, nobody could talk to anybody, nobody could see anybody. And now we can. So, I mean, the human element is for like when you can help somebody or volunteer for a day or something like that. To me, that seems like one of the easiest ways to do this for someone who doesn't know where to start. Maybe a program where you're cooking with someone, or you're visiting their farm or something like that. I mean, I think the human side of it, when you're connecting with others, I think is like the new core, right?
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, travel comes down to this moment where we connect with someone else, right? As you're saying, that beautiful human connection, that opportunity to have reciprocity, the exchange of energy, the exchange of learning, the exchange of new ideas and different perspectives. So in those moments, I think that represents the natural and most potential opportunity for growth and for transformation. And so, helping and coaching and mentoring your guest or your traveler and providing space for them to have more of those moments, I think is critical. And I think that therein lies where the most value is as well. When we talk about transformation and renewal, which is essentially, what we're, what we believe this to be, doesn't have to be about change. You're not changing who you are. It's changing who you're being, right? You're kind of who you are at your core, right? But how are you being? And that's a renewal, that's a refresh. And these experiences that you have, they uncover your true self. It leads to renewed awareness and radiates positive impacts in others in the world. So, a lot of people think transformational travel is just about the traveler, just the person, and jump to this idea that it's selfish, right, or narcissistic. Like, why are you worried about you? What about over tourism? What about these communities that you're visiting? What about and sustainability? Well, no, contraire. Like, it's absolutely healthier to travel from within, from the inside out, right? And that makes you more mindful, right, and conscious of how you're engaging, of the choices that you make about how you travel and why you travel. So it is that beautiful sort of symbiosis of inner and outer journey based on that human connection.
I love the way you explain that. All right, so tell us about the Transformational Travel Council. What is it? How did it start, and what do you do?
Yeah. So it started sort of based on this feeling, as I mentioned, that travel was sort of steering away from its power, and people weren't really talking about using it as this tool for positive change in our lives. So there was a group of us that came together in 2016, and we just like, oh, this, we've got something here. We're going to go to the Adventure Travel World Summit, and we're going to give a presentation, and we're going to change the world, through travel. And so, it got kicked off on a lot of passion and fiery energy from a few of us and veterans in the space. And we gave that presentation twice in Alaska at the Adventure Travel World Summit, and standing room only. And it was super well received. And there was lots of really influential journalists in the room. And a few weeks later, it was on the cover of Vogue magazine as the trend of 2017, the travel trend of 2017. And then it just, it just took off like wildfire. It became a trend. It became this movement. And then we're like, okay, we've got something here. What are we going to do? And so we started really trying to understand, like, how can we build an organization that, helps people catalyze travel for personal growth and for transformation. And so we decided that, well, let's build a community. And so, that community now is 300 members from 40 countries. Always looking for new ally members to join us. It's a bunch of like-minded souls that care deeply about the power of travel, and that come together and network and share an experience, to share best practices. And really, that's the soul of what we're doing is that community. And then with that community, and outside of that community, we provide education. And so we have our 10-week flagship transformational travel design course, where 40 people from around the world come together and go through that program. We'd run that twice a year. And then we've also got a few like 3-day immersives. We've got one in Ecuador coming up in October. We've got one in early June coming up. And then we also work with destinations. So we accredit destinations that are interested in adopting transformational travel, the transformation economy, and becoming regenerative. And so our destination program is a year-long transformative journey of really getting into the community, inviting diverse voices to the table, and shifting mindsets and building a regenerative culture that's providing transformational experiences. So there's that, and then we have our experiences and our events. So last October, 100 of us gathered in Slovenia for Transcend. And
I missed that one. I have to come to your next
I
one.
know, you've got to come to the next
off.
one. Yeah, I
Time
just found out where the next one's going to be. I can't share it, but I'm super excited about it. It's going to be.
Well, I need to be on that in that orbit of some of the first to know.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so it's the membership, it's the education, the consulting with the education, and then the events and experiences, and that's the TTC.
Okay, and I love that. So where, if somebody's interested, where do they find that?
Yeah, transformational.travel. And you'll see the pathways to the membership, to, if you're interested in taking one of the courses and becoming a TTC accredited transformer, or a TTC accredited destination regeneration, or signing up for some of our different experiences and events.
Okay, and I'm going to put you on the spot because I'm curious, but I think it might resonate with people to understand. What are some destinations that really do it right?
Some destinations that really do it right. That's a big question. And one thing that what we're seeing in travel is these buzzwords, and the greenwashing and the transformation washing that happens. So right now, every travel company in the planet, or close to, are claiming to provide transformational experiences, and we're pretty adamant about saying, like, that's not true. That's up to the traveler. That's up to the guest. You can create the conditions. So there are destinations and organizations that are certainly ahead of others and creating space for that. The two destinations that we just took through our destination regeneration program as early adopters, down in Travel Oregon, Willamette Valley Visitors Association, and then Whidbey and Camino Island up in Washington State. We've been working with them for 18 months on how to create the conditions for transformation. And so now they have operators and guides in their community all working, with these principles and practices and techniques on creating the space for transformation. But from places like Africa, any place that's a little bit more disorienting and a little bit more filled with awe and wonder, right? And some open space to sort of provoke the contemplation. Those are the places that typically resonate, right? And bring forth, that feeling of being alive, that helps us transform. And I think that that's different for everybody, right? But I think some places, the vastness, that feeling of being small, will often sort of shake you up and can be soul stirring. So those are the places that sort of just do it on their own, right? And we all know those places, and we all seek those out. But yeah, I think that for the most part, there's a long ways to go in understanding how to guide transformations, how to create the conditions for transformation in an intentional and structured way. And that's the value that we hope that we bring, hoteliers and tour operators and travel advisors and destinations.
No, I like that you explain it that way, because it's like, okay, I'm going to set you up to deliver it the way someone needs it to be delivered to them, right? You know what I mean? And not like making it so structured, because as I said before, people hear that word and they get scared and they say, well, I don't think I have the chops to do, to do a transformational trip, and they really don't know what it is. And I look back at my own life, like some of my, you and I and people like us have been around the world and back. Yeah. Some of the most impactful moments have been just like me sitting on a park bench alone, having a coffee and watching a kid accomplish something, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, or just the moments that make you wonder, right? Or they start you thinking about something. Exactly. It doesn't have to be that you ran a marathon somewhere.
No, it doesn't. And that would be a marathon or climbing a mountain. Those are all like wonderful ways to transform and shake you up. But yeah, it is in those moments as well, right? And so it just kind of shines a light that it's a mindset and it's an awareness, right? It's being aware of what's going on inside of us in these moments. So travel designers, get hotel guests, they can adapt their experience strategy, their customer journey, their guest journey in a way that creates space for that and guides and mentors. We're working with Joe Pine, the author of The Experience Economy. If you've read that, he's essentially the thought leader that kicked off the experience economy that we're very much in now, and he's on our advisory council. And him, along with Stone Mantle Research and Insights firm, we're just finishing up the inaugural year of the Transformation Economy Collaborative. And so we're working cross-category with healthcare and, fitness and tech and retail, and of course, travel on, this emerging idea of the transformation economy, and, defining, leading, and measuring, what it is, and what are the techniques, and how do we motivate people, because ultimately change is hard. And so those hotels and those travel designers that are better equipped are going to be able to provide incredible value to their guests to help them become better versions of themselves, right? That's an incredible opportunity that we have in travel, and the transformation economy is really leading that charge. We've got a report coming out, I think in June. It's going to be the first report on the transformation economy that we're really excited about and spent the last year digging into. And we got a long way to go. It's going to be a 7-year long journey that we're in this collaborative. But we think that the transformation economy, as Joe says, is hot on the heels of the experience economy.
I agree. This is great. And I love your newsletter. I'll plug it again. How do people sign up for it?
Yeah. Go to the website on the homepage. There's an opportunity to subscribe, and there's quite a few different mailers that we send out to membership and such. But I think you're probably referring to my weekly flow email.
Flow, yes. That's why I'm like, ooh, okay. This I see that alone, like, it's funny because maybe because you're so in tune with and you believe so much in what you're doing. Just even that title, or seeing something, I'm like, oh, I need a moment of calm. Let me open this, And for some reason, I always learn, it calms, and then I always learn something too, which I think is awesome. That's kind of the purpose. But I find your stuff really interesting that you reference as well.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, and it's called the weekly flow because we all have information that flows to us and through us. And, and I being in the position that I'm in, surrounded by amazing human beings in travel and tourism with our membership, and being sort of on this leading edge. And, this is what I love to do, is getting into kind of going beneath the surface, and solving big problems, in our lives at home and societal. And so, this weekly flow is just meant to sort of illuminate some different ideas and some different perspectives, and try to bring us back to, having more meaning and purpose and sense of belonging in our lives. And as we know, travel is just such a beautiful place and canvas to explore that.
Absolutely. Well, having said that, it's time for me to get outside. It's a beautiful day. Thank you so much. And we'll have you back. And I love what you're doing. I think everybody should check it out because it really can help you understand the concept a little bit differently than you are imagining it to be. So thanks for chatting with me.
Thank you. And I really appreciate all the work that you're doing, and you're sharing your wisdom all the time, and your connections and your flow. And I'm glad to have the opportunity to contribute to that.
Awesome. Talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you.